Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the hottest stocks, and even we're going to take a look at a cryptocurrency. We're going to check out the energy sector, which is super smoking right now. We've been all over the cryptocurrency, and then we've been over the Bitcoin and blockchain related stocks. They had been hot, and then the marijuana sector has been really hot, and now we have the energy sector, which is really heating up. Okay, so first let's take a look at RENN. This is a stock that was alerted yesterday. So as you can see here, it closed up another 47% today. So congrats everybody. Huge move for this stock. I mean, this is just a phenomenal move. RSI and Fasto are now at overbought levels. They are both in the power zone. Notice how it pushed super hard above the upper Bollinger Band, hitting 1850 today. So that was just a very strong move after a very bullish move yesterday. Yesterday's volume spike was big, but today was even, was 3 times that. So just enormous volume, a big push higher. There is a gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today. So if it did pull back down to 13, that would fill the gap. The first support level on a pullback would be EMA4 at 1406. Today's candle is pushing well above that upper Bollinger Band. So notice that the MACD lines for both the 8, 13, and 5 and the 12, 26, and 9 are both very perpendicular. So that is signaling it's an unsustainable move. It can't keep this trajectory for an extended period of time. So now that the candles are well above the upper Bollinger Band, you need to be on the lookout for a pause candle. It might take a breather. And so as you can see here, one of the reasons why it might take a breather is it's hitting key resistance. This is the RENN weekly chart. And as you can see over here on the right, it broke above this red line and blue line. This is the 200-week moving average at 1288 and the 300-week moving average at 1466. Now that 300-week moving average is the key level to turn into support. Notice it broke above this high close resistance level from back here in April 2016. And so that you want to see a close above 17 for the week. Keep in mind that this week's candle will not set until the closing bell on Friday. So a lot can change between now and then. It would be really bullish if it could close above the high close there, resistance level for the 2016, and then it's currently hitting the 2015 resistance levels. So what you have here is this November-December high close, which is the 1850 resistance zone. It's currently hitting that. It needs to bust through, and if it can, then you're looking at $20 up here from the June, this May-June move. Okay, so the May high there was 20, and then on June there was a high up here, June of 2015, there was a high up here of 2150. And so those are the targets. If it can break above this 1850, then you're looking at 20 and 2150 as the next 2 key levels. It's hitting now this 2015 levels. This is a huge move. It's filling the jar back to the 20s. Notice the giant volume spike behind the move this week. There's a PSAR bull flip. The MACD is just heating up on the weekly chart. So yeah, this is signaling that it has a really nice uptrend and it's pushing higher. The candles could just work back into the bands, and if they do, you want to see that 300-day simple moving average hold. Okay, so I posted made a video on the cryptocurrencies earlier, and I didn't mean to leave out TRX. This has been the beauty, so I have to throw that in this video here. Sorry about leaving it out in the last video. This has been the awesome current cryptocurrency to be riding. As you can see here, it just started trading. Okay, so down here it started getting volume in November, and then you've got this nice move here in December where it started heating up, and the candles have been riding EMAs 4, 8, and 13 support higher. Right now it's gone parabolic and it's busting out and riding EMA 4. Notice it hit an new all-time high today, which is up here at 918. Okay, so that'll be the key level to break. As long as EMA 4 support is holding, the signal is to keep riding the swing trade. As you can see down here, we were looking for a break above 528. That happened, and then now it's followed with another big candle. It just keeps pushing higher. This has been an awesome run. It was the breakdown here above high close resistance on this candle right here on the first. That was your signal that it wanted to head higher. It broke above the closing price on the 23rd. That was the signal. Okay, it's ready to break out and run. This was the load level. If you loaded down here in the 3s, you're looking really sweet right now. Now, if the candles do cool down, you want to see that EMA 4 support hold down here at 617. If that breaks, you could see it pull back to test that EMA 8 at 5. So yeah, sweet run here. Let's see if it can continue. Okay, let's look at REXX. Okay, so this was the big energy sector play. You know, we put out alerts early in the chat. People ask about that, you know, like how does the alerting work? We put out alerts and charts basically around the clock 24/7, and the early bird gets the worm, and you know, the alerts go out into the chat first, and so in the premium chat, just so people know, I've been getting asked this question. And so yeah, we were on this play this morning when it broke above the middle Bollinger Band down here at 150, and so we were putting out alerts. We were looking for a break above that 50-day simple moving average at 177, and so yeah, if you were in the chat, you had the early chance to get in this down here in this 150, 160 range, and then it broke above that 50-day simple moving average, and it really got running. You know, we put out alerts. It broke above that 100-day simple moving average. That was the next key level. We weren't sure if it was going to be able to break above. As you can see, that was the top of this descending resistance zone. That was the top of this descending resistance line on this downtrending channel. Notice the peak in September and the peak in November both hit this red line, which is lined up with this gold line, which is the 100-day simple moving average. So today there was a close above both levels. That was super bullish. You want to see the share price now stay above 220, and then you want to see a break above this high close here on the 14th of November. So a break above 245 would put the 200-day simple moving average at 276, and this high close from September on deck. Now, if it drops below 220, then you could see that 100-day simple moving average at 206 tested. It really needs to hold now that the candles are above that level. You don't want to see it drop back in this previous channel. If it does, then it could drop down to test that 50-day simple moving average. This was a really big move, and it did push well above that upper Bollinger Band, so you have to be on the lookout for it cooling down. Now, the big thing is it had the giant volume. Look how big that volume is, and it closed near high of day. It looks like it wants to push higher. We'll see. People were you know, we're really loading into the close. We'll see if the market makers will let it keep pushing higher. Okay, so yeah, just keep in mind, you know, you always have to follow the charts. So yeah, the 200-day moving average is on deck if that 100-day moving average holds. Okay, let's look at SDRL. Now it closed above 50 on RSI. This chart is heating up. It closed up 19%. Okay, I'm giving you some energy sector plays right now, and then it's got Fasto above 80. There's a bull cross here on ADX with plus DI crossing minus DI to the upside, and so what we were looking today with SDRL was a close above the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages. That's the green and gold line. It broke above the middle Bollinger Band, signaling it was heating up. That's at 25 cents, and so it closed right at the second key resistance level. It closed above the 50-day simple moving average, but now it needs to close above the 100-day simple moving average at 29. Once it can turn 29 into support, it could get moving. Notice how it broke out in November. It got above the 50-day simple moving average, then it got above the 100, you know, it made the big run up to 55, you know, when it started down there at 24, you know, had a nice 100% move. And so what we're looking for here, if it breaks above that 50 and 100-day simple moving average, you want to see it break above high close here, this closing price here at about 34 cents, and then you want to see a run up here to this, well, there's the high close here at 41, and then the 200-day simple moving average at 45. Those are the targets if it can break above that 29 resistance zone. Notice that the green dots, the parabolic star dots, are now flipped below the candles, and then there was a giant volume spike today. So you have the volume spike, P-star bull flip, and then if you go down here onto the MACD, you will see bullish crossovers on MACD on both time frames. So everything's signaling that the chart is heating up. It just needs to follow through. Okay, let's look at ENRJ. RSI now is at 56. Notice how it's just heating up. It had been below 50 for several weeks, and so this is your clue that along with Fasto above 80, that it's starting to heat up. Also another clue is notice the green line is above the black and the red line. When plus DI is above 80x and minus DI, it is a signal that the bulls are starting to heat up and are trying to take control. So notice this has been in a downtrending channel here with very tight Bollinger Bands. You know, it's been trading in this tight channel, and what we're looking for is a break above resistance. It looked like that happened today above descending resistance here, And what's going on is the moving averages are basically just lined up right in a row here. You have it's hitting the 50-day simple moving average basically at 27. You have the 100-day simple moving average at 28, the 200-day simple moving average at 31, and then you have the 300-day simple moving average at 33. Notice that they're lined up, the 200 and 300 with this high close here on the 6. If you can get a close above 33, that should signal it wants to head higher. So keep an eye on it. The chart's heating up. You have the PSAR bull flip. The candles or the dots are below the candles. You have the volume spike down here. You have the MACD bull crosses. So yeah, everything's signaling the chart's heating up. It just has to break through resistance. Okay, check out JONE. It's in the bull zone here on RSI. It's still not at overbought levels. Fasto's in the power zone. You have plus DI, breaking out, and then you have the bull cross on with ADX crossing minus DI to the upside. So this started an uptrend here back a couple weeks ago when it closed above that dotted purple line, which is the middle Bollinger Band, and then last Friday it closed above that 50-day simple moving average. That was a signal that wanted to head higher. Now today it's hitting the next key level. That's the 100-day simple moving average at 120. If it can break above that, we're looking for a run up there to the 200-day simple moving average at 155. Notice how this is lining up with the high close resistance levels. So we're gonna see if it can break out higher here. Okay, so these are some of the high close levels to get through. So yeah, it looks like if it can get above that 120, it could make a run up to, just keep pushing higher. Now, if it stalls out here and it closes below EMA4, that'll be a signal it's cooling down. It needs to stay above the 50-day simple moving average now that it's above that level. If it drops below, that could signal consolidation and a possible middle Bollinger Band support test. Okay, let's look at SAEX. Okay, so this stock is really heating up here. It closed up 21%. You still have RSI at 63, so it's not in the overbought power zone. There was a pullback. It made a big move a couple weeks ago where it had the big 2-day move, and then it pulled back and consolidated. Notice that it held the 100-day simple moving average at 203, this gold line on the pullback, and then now it's pushing higher again. What we're looking for is a close above the closing price here. What is this, the 22nd? It looks like at 265 about. If it can get above that level, that should signal it wants to head higher. If it fails to break this 265 resistance zone, then that would signal possible, consolidation. It's not ready to go. It needs to close above. That close above should be the clue that it wants to break out higher. Notice that there is a big volume spike today, and yeah, the chart's heating up. It just has to break through resistance. Okay, look at EVEP. This is heating up as well. You have RSI at 55. Notice that it ran up to 90 on the last big run. So yeah, so this chart is just heating up. If you look down here, you could see it broke above the gold and the dotted purple line today. It's above the 100-day and 20-day simple moving averages. Now it's hitting the 50-day simple moving average at 69. It needs to get above that level. If it closes above, it looks like it could run up here to that 200-day simple moving average. That was the level that it topped out at back in the beginning of December. If it can close above that 200-day simple moving average, similar to it did back here in November, then it could run up there to that 300-day simple moving average and test it once again. So yeah, it's all about breaking that 50-day simple moving average. If it fails to break, that'll signal it's not quite ready to go, and you'll see this middle Bollinger Band and 100-day simple moving average tested. Once again, you have the volume spike, you have the PSAR bull flip, the green dots are below the candles, and notice that the 12, 26, and 9 MACD just started a bull cross, and then there was a bull cross a couple days ago on the 8, 13, and 5 MACD. So all signals the chart is heating up. Okay, so yeah, let's look here. We'll go to GST here. This is another energy sector stock, GST. Fasto and RSI are in the overbought power zone. This is breaking out. It's already been on a long uptrend. As you can see here, it bottomed out down here. It made a bottom down here in August and September, and then it's been cruising higher ever since. So today, the big move was the close above that blue line there, which is the 300-day simple moving average at 113. If it could stay above that level, 113, it could continue with this uptrend. Okay, so now the next level to break is breaks 135, that's the close from back here in May. If it stalls out at 135, you could see it pull back and test that 300-day simple moving average. You want to see that level hold now that it's above that level. Okay, it's the big level. Get above 135, you could see a run up to 160. That was the high close from back here in April. You can see there was some trading in between 135 and 160, so there will be some resistance in that level. Now notice that you've got the jar is being filled. You know, they walked it down and now they're walking it back up. And so yeah, it's this is a nice steady uptrend. We'll see if it can continue. Okay, let's look at APHB. So yeah, this stock here is the healthcare biotech company, and then I just wanted to show you this chart here. It was up after hours, and then it was up end of day. As you can see here, it's in the bull zone at 60 on RSI. You know, you have plus DI breaking out. You know, you have minus DI crossing or ADX crossing minus DI. You know, the signals, the chart's heating up. You have a P-star bull flip, the green dots below the candles. What made this chart look interesting was the close today above the top of this channel. You know, since November here, it's been in the sideways channel, and today there was a close above the top. So there's the high close here, and so that's signaling more upside potential. Now you want to see it stay above that 110 level, and then now 115 is a key level to break from back here. If it can get above 115, it could run up here to this 127.5 level. You know, the big thing is if it can turn this 110 into support, it could work its way back up to this 200-day simple moving average at 138. If you see it drop back below 110, that's going to signal that it's probably not ready to go, and that it could go back into the sideways channel and continue consolidating. Okay, because it's trying to break out of the top of the channel. It needs to turn that level into support now. There was a P-star bull flip, like I said. There's the big volume spike. So there's a nice volume spike today, the biggest volume in the whole since back in November. And then you have MACD heating up on both time frames. So keep an eye on it. We'll see if it can push higher. And now let's look at HGSH. I'm going to change gears a little bit. Show you this a couple China stocks here, or at least one China stock here. And so it closed up 94% today. The red flag is the big long upper wick. Notice how it hit 450 and then it pulled back. That long upper wick shows profit taking, possibly more than likely dilution. If you look at the average daily volume, it's extremely low. I mean, look at these candles up here on the left. These are what are called four price dojis. You know, they usually are formed when there's no trading hardly. There's probably just one trade that day, and so it's a red flag. You know, this is a thinly traded stock, and then boom, all of a sudden it has huge volume. They use the run up to 450 to dump shares. Now what it needs to do is stay above the blue line here, which is the 300-day simple moving average at 160. If it can stay above that, that would be bullish, and then it needs to hold that above the EMA4 at 173. Okay, so if you look down here at accumulation distribution, you could see how there was a huge drop today. So that big spike down is a red flag, along with the spike down on CMF, shaken money flow. You know, it's a signal that it's bearish divergence. You know, when the share price is up on the day and it had a huge day, and then accumulation distribution and shaken money flow spike down, it's a red flag that they're dumping shares. And when that happens, it can be hard to get an uptrend going. You know, these companies are their own worst enemies, and so this is the classic gap and trap. And then you know, what they did is they gapped it up today, and then they ran the share price up. It's a high of day to 450, and then it looks like a lot of people got trapped up here. As you can see, there was big volume early in the day. This was the classic volume spike. Notice the big pullback from high of day, followed by a red candle with the big volume bar. That signaled that they were taking profits. You know, if you were in here, you wanted to lock them in. Once that middle Bollinger Band broke over here at 130, that signaled the chart was really breaking down. Now it's heading for that next support level, which is the 50 simple moving average at 209. It needs to hold that level. If that breaks, then you could see a drop way down here to that 100, 200, and 300 simple moving averages. If it can get back above 273, then it could get going again. Fail to break above EMAs 4, 8, and 13 and turn them into support. It's going to signal downside risk. Okay, let's look at CHCI. Okay, so this is another one that's been forming the long upper wicks. I'm going to show you the 15-minute chart for this stock. It did close up 39% today. As you can see here with this multi-day, it's a 4-day 15-minute chart, and then and you can see yesterday it made a big move and then it pulled back, and it ended up having a big drop into the close. Notice how they had the climax spike again. You know, you had the big move early, the big volume bar, followed by a red volume bar, a big long upper wick, red candle. That signaled that they were going to short it. The candles were working back into the bands. You know, you want to exit here, and then you're looking for re-entry. Well, they really dropped this thing big time. Notice that it bounced off the 200 and 300 simple moving averages. That's always the reload level on the 15-minute chart if support holds. That's the bottom support level, so keep that in mind. And then it got back into the channel. Today it had the big bounce, but it didn't break the descending resistance. Notice how it's just continuing the previous channel lower. So it has to break above the middle Bollinger Band at 223, and then the big level that breaks the 50 simple moving average at 238 and the top of this channel, so that they're both lined up at the same level. Failed to break above the 50, failed to get above the middle Bollinger Band, and then you're looking at a 100 simple moving average at 189 test and a possible drop back down to that 200 and 300 simple moving averages. Okay, and then we're going to finish it up with ATTBF. Yeah, I want to show you this. The marijuana sector has been going off. We have so many stocks in play right now. It's hard to chart them all, keep up with all of them. I'll try to make a marijuana sector video tonight. But yeah, it's going off, the Canadian and the U.S. sector. Here's a Canadian stock. I just want to show you here this 15-minute chart, how we put out the alert. You know, it was forming this downtrending channel, and then we put out alert that it was it breaking out above this red descending resistance line on the second. Okay, so notice the break above resistance, above descending resistance, and above horizontal resistance, high close. That signaled it wanted to head higher. Notice the candles just started writing EMA 4 and 8 support higher. They got above high close resistance from the 26 and really got cooking. So yeah, so keep that in mind, that you're always looking for a close above resistance on the intraday charts to signal that it wants to head higher. If it fails to, that's usually a signal that it's going to consolidate. Now today it pushed all the way up to 74 and pulled back, okay, and it had that climax spike type vibe. You know, you have the really big volume today, the big push, and it closed with very tight Bollinger Bands. So it's going to need to push higher here. It needs to break above high close resistance, which is right here at about 69. If they can get above 69, it's going to signal it wants to head higher. If you see a drop below the lower Bollinger Band here at 65, that's going to signal downside risk, and you could get a drop down here to the 50 simple moving average at 58. And if you look here between high of day yesterday, which is the top of this candle, and low of day today, which is the bottom of this candle, there is a gap. And many times gaps get filled for over-the-counter stocks. So yeah, if it cools down, look for a pullback and a potential gap fill and a bounce off that 50 simple moving average. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, please come check out our chat. I will post the link at the bottom of the YouTube video. Okay, thank you.